Stop! I know these places in Disney World look and sound awesome, but they are strictly prohibited for guests. But I'm going to give you a brief taste of what these super secret locations are like today, so grab your sneaking shoes. Hey everybody, it's AJ for Disney Food Blog. When you take a trip to Disney World, you have access to a lot of things like swanky hotel rooms, rides that blast off into space, and all the Dole Whip you could possibly want or need. But there are some parts of Disney that you can't just waltz right on into as if you've got every right to do so. These locations are closed off to the public because of safety concerns, private memberships, or they're just, super secret Disney testing facilities, totally average stuff. So I'm going to let you take a peek behind the curtain to find out what you're missing out on, as well as come up with a few alternative options that are totally legal to help you fill that FOMO void. Now, have we seen all of these things ourselves? No, especially not this first one. So let's jump into the Flavor Lab. Here's a flavor town you can't get a bus to. Sorry, Guy Fieri. Access denied. The Flavor Lab is where all the Disney food magic happens. It's a research and development facility with the prime goal of creating new and innovative foods for the Disney parks. Mickey ice cream sandwiches made here. All of your favorite staple dishes are born inside the Flavor Lab. The Flavor Lab team is also responsible for imagineering the plot lines behind Disney restaurants to make sure no restaurant is left storyless. In Space 220, you're dining in the Centauri Space Station, 220 miles above Epcot, 50s Primetime Cafe at Disney's Hollywood Studios. You're taking a seat in a 1950s style home while your cousins, aunts, and uncles take care of you, while also making sure you mind your P's and Q's. Even in quick service locations like Satuli Canteen in Disney's Animal Kingdom, you'll find yourself dining inside a rehabilitated RDA military mess hall. That's all Avatar talk, but basically, it was a bad facility transformed into a much more peaceful place to dine in Pandora, as the story goes. All of those stories, all of the design details, and all of the corresponding menu items are thanks to the Imagineers at the Flavor Lab. At all times, the Flavor Lab is working on around 100 different projects and perfecting the stories and recipes for each. And each of those projects takes a lot of time. It took these culinary Imagineers 2 whole years to get the right French fry recipe down for Deluxe Burger. So make sure to really enjoy those little beauties next time you're chomping down. But where is the Flavor Lab? Great question. And the answer is totally hidden. Flavor Lab is hidden away from the public, tucked into a backstage area within an unassuming 7,500 square foot building somewhere on Disney World property. Why the major secrecy? Well, if the 2 years worth of fry testing didn't make things obvious, Flavor Lab Imagineers know that a dish takes a long time before its final iteration is ready for the public eye, or rather the public tongue. So if a recipe is leaked early, it could cause major setbacks for the restaurants. And according to master pastry chef Stefan Reimer, in an interview he connected with Food and Wine, creating recipes for Disney was a lot more challenging before food labs came to be. We ended up dropping a lot of ideas for Disney-inspired foods because we'd seen them on social media before they were even launched. So secrecy is key for the Flavor Lab. Now, unless you become a Flavor Lab chef or you have the privilege of being invited out by Disney, you're more than likely never going to step foot into this facility and see the culinary artists work their magic. However, there are still several places around Disney World property where you can watch Disney chefs prepare food right in front of you. A handful of the Disney table service and signature restaurants have open-air kitchens, meaning you can watch the Disney chefs whipping up your meal while you wait in the dining room. A few of these restaurants include Tepanito at Epcot, Flying Fish at Disney's Boardwalk Inn Resort, and Haleo in Disney Springs. If you want to see how some of Disney's sweetest treats are made, the Main Street Confectionery at Magic Kingdom will give you a front and center window view of the confectionery artists creating their next round of candy apples, Rice Krispie treats, or any other number of sugary concoctions that you'll be able to order from the Sweet Shop's display case once they're given those final touches of flavor. The Flavor Lab's location might be under lock and key, but for this next entry on our list, we know exactly where these areas are located, and yet only a few of us on the DFB team have ever been in them in person. The Utilidors. When we say this hush-hush location is underground, we don't just mean it in a figurative sense. It's literally under the Disney World parks. So access denied. Both Magic Kingdom and Epcot have utility corridors, or utilidors, winding directly underneath the parks, meaning when you're strolling along World Showcase or waiting in line to ride Dumbo the Flying Elephant, you're technically standing on the second floor of Magic Kingdom and Epcot. The system is for cast members and cast members only to help get them from point A to point B without breaking the magic. You notice how each cast member wears a different costume depending on where they're stationed to work? Well, Disney wants to prevent costume crossovers to avoid clashing themes. Now, this all stems back to a story about Walt Disney going through Disneyland and noticing a cast member from Frontierland over in Tomorrowland, and he could, of course, tell by his costume. Now, because Walt wanted to stay true to the integrity of each land, he said something like this was never going to happen again, especially not in his brand new Disney World. Thus, the cast members now use those hidden park tunnels to get from one place to the next without crossing any streams. So you're not going to find a Fantasyland costume in Tomorrowland or a Haunted Mansion costume near Pirates of the Caribbean. The utilidors help cast members slip from one side of the park to the next without being seen. Very sneaky. The utilidors also have storage areas for equipment and park deliveries, and a secret Subway sandwich shop in both Magic Kingdom and Epcot, so cast members can order a quick lunch during their breaks. Yes, I'll have a 6-inch on wheat with ham and provolone cheese, please. But access granted. Okay, now what if I told you there might be a way to see these underground tunnels without having to become a cast member yourself? Would you be interested? If you sign up for Disney's Keys to the Kingdom tour, you'll experience a 5-hour walking guided experience that'll take you behind the scenes of the Magic Kingdom, including a sneak peek into the exclusive cast member Utilidor system. This tour costs $114 per person and does not include theme park admission, which you'll also need to purchase on top of that tour price to get into the Magic Kingdom. So expect to pay quite the hefty bill for this experience overall. You also must be 16 years or older to go on this tour. Now, not all of Disney World's backstage tours are quite the money leeches, though the other tours won't take you through the utilidors if that's something you're really wanting to see. Over in Disney's Animal Kingdom, you can hit up the Caring for Giants tour and get up close to the park's African elephant herd for $35 per person, or for $10 more, you can register for the Up Close with Rhinos tour. Both tours are 60 minutes long and give you more details about the care, behavior, and challenges when it comes to handling these beautimous giant animals. Disney is still slowly reintroducing all the different behind-the-scenes tours back into the park, so keep checking back with us and the Disney World website to learn about when more tours become available. You know what tour is way more expensive than the Keys to the Kingdom tour? The one that takes you through our next restricted area. Cinderella Castle, home of the Cinderella's Royal Table Restaurant, keeper of beautiful hallway mosaics, the stage of Disney enchantment, and Mickey's Magical Friendship Fair. And of course, it's the backdrop of many, many, many photos on my camera roll. Cinderella Castle is the Disney World icon, but if you were to scale of this 189-foot beacon, you'd eventually stumble on a suite that costs guests thousands just for the chance to step inside. It's the Cinderella Castle Suite. So the Cinderella Castle Suite was never originally meant to be used by the public. Instead, it was supposed to be a place for Walt Disney and his family to stay while visiting the park. But because Walt passed away before getting the chance to see Disney World open its gates for visitors, the upstairs rooms of the castle were made into office space. That is, until 2006 rolled around. During the Year of a Million Dreams celebration, the Cinderella Castle Suite made its big debut. Guests could win a one-night stay in this super exclusive room during the celebration, which could give them a chance to bathe in a giant tub under the stars, take a look through Peter Pan's spyglass to take people watching to the extreme, and watch Cinderella's story play out on the magical bedroom mirror. Now, if you're sitting there going, Disney, just take my money already, I've got to stay here, I've got some bad news for you. You can't just throw money Disney's direction for a sleepover at Cindy's place, though you'd think that'd work, right? Because this room is so exclusive, you'll have to be invited by Disney themselves to experience a royal night towering above the Magic Kingdom, or if another contest pops up in the future, you might be able to win a stay there again. But if you're dying for just a peek inside the most exclusive suite in Disney World, you can sign up for the 50th Anniversary VIP Tour, which will give you a full day of all the Disney magic you can stuff into one visit, including skipping the lines of all the hottest rides, dining at all the best signature restaurants, and of course taking a tour through the Cinderella Castle Suite for the low, low price of $6,500. Pocket change, right? Kidding, of course. You could pay for like 6,000 McChickens with that money. Now, if you're looking for a royal stay while you're in Disney World, you might want to check into Port Orleans Riverside instead. This moderate resort has princess-themed royal guest rooms that'll surround you with framed pictures of the princesses, fun furniture accents like the genie lamp-shaped faucets from Aladdin, and doggy footstool from Beauty and the Beast, and my personal favorite, fireworks that light up the headboards. Turns out you actually can throw money at Disney for this one. These rooms run on average around $400 to $420 per night. But if you have even more money to spare for a royal stay, you can always try making a reservation over at Disney's Grand Floridian Resort and Spa and requesting a theme park view. That way, you'll be able to wake up to the view of Cindy's Place each morning and end your night with a view of the Magic Kingdom Fireworks Spectacular, Disney Enchantment, from the comfort of your hotel balcony. That feels pretty royal. The Cinderella Castle Suite isn't the only place Walt Disney originally created as a private oasis for himself and the people closest to him, though. He also built a club that to this day only few can be members of. So let's talk Club 33. Club 33 is a private dining venue that only Club 33 members and their guests have access to. Club 33 started in Disneyland with the original purpose of entertaining Walt Disney's friends and VIP guests from inside the park. But again, before this project was completely complete, Walt passed away, meaning the venue never got to serve its intended purpose. But Club 33 is still treated as a super fancy place that only a limited number of folks are allowed to cross the threshold for. In Disneyland, Club 33 is located on 33 Royal Street in New Orleans Square, but now there are Club 33 locations also available around the Disney World parks. Now, there are only a limited number of Club 33 memberships available for the public to purchase, and you have to purchase separate membership for Disneyland and Disney World. If you do sign up to be one of those lucky few, you'll have to go through an evaluation process to make sure you're worthy of this kind of spot. And even if you do get accepted into this membership program, it is extremely expensive to be a member, and there are some serious annual renewal fees as well. Overall, we're talking many tens of thousands of dollars. So if you want to dine fancy but not pay the price of a brand new car while you're at it, I will never say this again ever, but when Victoria and Albert's reopens this summer in Disney's Grand Floridian Resort and Spa, that's going to be a cheaper option for you. And by cheaper, I mean you're still paying a starting price of around $295 per person. Victoria and Albert's is an award-winning 5-star signature restaurant with multi-course menu options that change daily depending on what's fresh. Make sure you've brought your formal attire with you for this meal though, because flip-flops and Mickey ears are not going to cut it and frankly aren't allowed. There are many other signature and table service restaurants at Disney World that come quite a bit cheaper than that, though they're still going to cost you a pretty penny. Like Cinderella's Royal Table and Be Our Guest restaurant in Magic Kingdom, California Grill at Disney's Contemporary Resort, and Jiko at Disney's Animal Kingdom Lodge. You can learn even more about these restaurants, including all the other restaurants on property, in our 2022 DFB Guide to Walt Disney World Dining, which you can find at the DFB store. Just use the code YouTube to save money on your final purchase. Go to dfbstore.com. But if you're wanting more of that exclusive club-like vibe, you might want to try out one of the Disney World lounges. You've got the immersive Trader Sam's Grog Grotto in Polynesian Village Resort, the Beauty and the Beast-inspired Enchanted Rose in Grand Floridian, the tucked-away Nomad Lounge in Animal Kingdom, and the often overlooked Bellevue Lounge in the Boardwalk Inn Resort. And that's only a few of the lounges available on Disney World property. There are several other lounges where the seating is intimate, the drinks are plenty, and the lounge bites aren't going to cost thousands of dollars to enjoy. How expensive can we get here, people? Depends. Instead of paying thousands to be part of a Disney club, what if you could pay millions to never leave Disney World? Golden Oak has entered the chat. Let's say you've come to the end of your Disney World vacation and you find yourself clawing at the pavement of Main Street, USA, being dragged out by the ankles by your embarrassed travel party, all while you're busy screaming, "Please, I can't leave, don't make me leave." Okay, A, please don't ever do this. And B, there are a select group of people who don't leave Disney, ever. If you take a 10-minute detour from the Magic Kingdom, you'll be able to drive past the Golden Oak community, a private Disney-owned neighborhood where, yes, you can live in Disney World forever and ever, amen. But don't even think about crossing into that neighborhood if you're not willing to drop serious dough to own one of the properties here. Or to, stay at the Four Seasons, which is also located in this neighborhood. Starting prices for homes in Golden Oak are around $2 million, but if you do a little more digging, you'll find that these homes can reach prices up to at least $16 million. And you know what's even more wild about all this? In order to live here, paying millions of dollars for the house itself isn't good enough. You also get to pay an HOA fee that costs around $19,000 a year, and that's not even adding in the other maintenance fees, which are going to push you into the extra $26,000 to $30,000 range per year. If you do find some of those millions of buckaroos tucked behind your couch cushions somewhere, you'll not only be able to live on Disney World property, but you'll also be given a lot of perks, as you should, right? Those perks include invites to special Disney World events, scheduled private VIP tours, and direct cast member assistance for booking dining, spa treatments, golf tee times, and park visits. Cast members can also be called on to help make in-home dinners and decorate your space for specialty events and parties. Not to mention, you'll also get direct transportation to the parks, access to DVC lounges, discounts for shopping, plus many, many, many more amenities. So look, a stay in Disney is expensive enough as a week-long endeavor, let alone a lifetime of luxury. So if you want to experience the neighborhood vibes while you're hanging around the parks, consider booking one of the garden cottages at Disney's Boardwalk Inn Resort. There are only 14 of these available to book, but if you can manage to book one, you'll be able to stay at a super cute little cottage with a manicured lawn, a privacy fence, rose bushes out front, and a nice little patio on the second story. And on the inside of this cottage, you'll be living it comfy cozy with a 2-leveled house with amenities like a loft, a king-size bed, and a full bath. If you're looking for a cheaper stay with more than 14 options that still gives you that home away from home feel, the cabins at Disney's Fort Wilderness will place you and your party in the middle of the woods in a little log cabin with a full living room, kitchen area, and separate bedroom. So if you're wanting to avoid your hotel room being attached at the hip to another hotel room, this will give you plenty of space away from your neighbors. Okay, we're past all the super expensive stuff now. Let's get into the Disney World places that won't cost you a dime because they're not meant for anyone to go to, ever. Before Disney's Blizzard Beach and before Disney's Typhoon Lagoon, there was Disney's River Country, which according to our friends at All Ears, was one of the earliest full-themed water parks ever built. But Disney's River Country was, how can I put this lightly, flat out neglected, leading it to be abandoned and untouched on Disney World property for many, many, many years. Disney's River Country opened on June 20th, 1976 and practically rubbed shoulders with the Fort Wilderness Campground. The park was themed around Tom Sawyer's Swimming Hole and featured many of those water park staples that we take for granted today, like winding water slides, a lazy river, a sandy bottom lake, and a water play area. The water park was wildly successful until Typhoon Lagoon came to play in 1989, and Blizzard Beach said, hey, wait for me in 1995. It left poor little River Country to hold its own against two bright and shining new water parks. At the end of 2001, Disney's River Country closed for its routine winter refurbishment and just never opened. But the really weird thing about this was that Disney didn't fully announce that River Country wouldn't be reopening until 2005, 4 years later. Rumors started to bubble up about why the park was forced to close. One of the most popular rumors stemmed from an incident that happened in 1980, which indicated Disney had to close River Country because of a brain-eating amoeba infestation. But in reality, that was an isolated incident that happened 21 years before the park went dark, and Disney did have a unique filtration system installed that made sure the water they pulled from neighboring Bay Lake was cleaned, filtered, and fresh to use, assuring that unfiltered water couldn't enter the park. So in reality, the reason Disney probably closed this park was simply a lack of interest. After the 9/11 attacks, tourism dropped tremendously, and it's very likely River Country just wasn't worth the cost being shoveled into its upkeep. For the longest time, Disney World just didn't touch the deteriorating park, like at all. They didn't bulldoze it, they didn't reimagine it into something else, they just fenced it off and left it. But in 2016, Disney actually did return to this old water park site and started doing some secret construction work on it. I imagine the whole reunion felt a lot like Jessie from Toy Story 2 being found by Emily after years of getting all dusty under the teen's bed. The River Country lot was finally being played with again. In 2018, Disney announced that the former River Country was going to become a new DVC resort called Reflections at Disney Lakeside Lodge. And although the resort was originally projected to open in 2022, we've been hearing a whole lot of nothing about it. After the 2020 park closures, there's a good chance that Disney scrapped the Reflections project completely, especially since all materials delivery to the site has been permanently canceled and some of the already completed concrete pours have been removed. So again, much like Jessie, it seems the poor River Country property has been left behind by Disney again until further notice. Probably put into a donation box. But even if you're feeling sorry for this patch of land, do not. And I really, really, really mean do not go here, or else you'll wind up in a heap of trouble. If you need to get your water park filled, Disney's Typhoon Lagoon is still alive and splashing, ready for you to float the day away or catch a wave or two in their massive wave pool. Currently, Blizzard Beach is playing the quiet game and is down for the count, but we'll keep you updated when the ski resort themed water park is going to reopen. It's just down for maintenance right now. Though you're not allowed to swim in Disney's lakes due to the unpredictability of the alligator population, you can still take a ride out on them thanks to Disney's motorized boat rentals. Select Disney World resorts have marinas, including Disney's Contemporary, Yacht and Beach Club, and Grand Floridian, where you can rent a pontoon boat for you and your group for $45 per half hour. By the way, there's other marinas too. Basically, any hotel on a lake of any sort has a marina. Just make sure to get to the marinas early if this is something you want to do. Marinas do not take reservations and all boat rentals are first come, first serve. So want to know the strangest thing about Disney's River Country? It's not the only theme park that was up and abandoned by Disney World. Yep, that's right. Disney World has not one but two neglected theme park destinations that have now become the forbidden fruit for all its guests. Discovery Island opened in 1974 but changed its name to Treasure Island in 1977. And in case you're wondering, yes, this park was directly inspired by Disney's movie Treasure Island. According to the D23 website, Treasure Island once held one of the largest walk-through aviaries in the world and was a park filled with all sorts of exotic birds, giant tortoises, and many other animals that filled this wildlife sanctuary. The only way you could get to this island-based park was by purchasing a special adventure ticket and hopping aboard a boat from the contemporary Polynesian or the former Walt Disney World cruise, which once sailed across the Seven Seas Lagoon and Bay Lake. For years, the park seemed really popular among guests until things took a turn for the worse. The island's director and 4 employees were charged for mishandling the birds, which Disney claimed was the employees trying to relocate the birds, with unfortunate results. But the damage was already done, and once Disney's Animal Kingdom opened in 1998, it became the final nail for the Treasure Island coffin. After 25 years of being a sanctuary for exotic animals, this island went dark in 1999, and to this day, guests are forbidden to cross the island's threshold to take a peek. But lo, Discovery Island rose from the ashes to take on an entirely new form inside Disney's Animal Kingdom. Today, Discovery Island is the land that holds the park's icon, the Tree of Life, which is a pretty big deal if I do say so myself. You can also walk the Discovery Island trails that wrap around the Tree of Life to meet a handful of critters living out their days within the park, as well as see some unique and picturesque angles around the base of the giant tree. This is also where you'll find the quick service restaurants Flame Tree Barbecue and Pete Safari, as well as a handful of gift shops like Creature Comforts and Island Mercantile. So I guess you could say Discovery Island walked so that Animal Kingdom could run. Next, we're going to talk about Shades of Green. Now, Shades of Green isn't exactly a Walt Disney World-owned resort. Well, at least not anymore. According to the Shades of Green website, the core building of Shades of Green opened in 1971 as a 2-story clubhouse for the Disney World golf courses, and it didn't actually have guest rooms. Guest wings started to be added to the clubhouse in 1973, and when 1986 rolled around, Disney renamed the clubhouse as the Disney Inn to try and appeal to more visitors than just the golf fans out there. But in 1994, Walt Disney World and the Department of Defense came to an agreement that the Disney Inn could be transformed into an armed forces recreational center. Thus, on February 1st, 1994, Shades of Green was born. The AFRC was so successful that the U.S. Army Family and Morale Welfare and Recreation Program went ahead and outright purchased the resort from Disney in 1996. Now, Shades of Green serves as an affordable option for service members and their families, meaning if you or someone in your family who's traveling with you is not part of the armed forces, then you won't be eligible to stay at this property. But what is this resort like, you might be asking? It kind of feels like Disney's Wilderness Lodge in Saratoga Springs had a baby. This is a very secluded and quiet place surrounded by lots of greenery, cascading waterfalls on the inside, serene landscaping on the outside, and plenty of opportunities to enjoy an afternoon on the golf courses, which are only a short walk away. Shades of Green also acts like a Disney deluxe resort and includes transportation to and from the parks, pools to splash around in, princess and pirate makeovers for the kiddos, early theme park entry for all parks on all days, and extended evening hours for Magic Kingdom and Epcot on select days. Now, you know how I compared this place to Disney's Wilderness Lodge in Saratoga Springs? Well, guess what? You can actually stay at those places, whether you're part of the armed forces or not, and you can get big rooms here too, like DVC Villas, which will allow you to stretch out, have more privacy, and gain access to lots of deluxe amenities. Are you going to have to pay a heck of a lot more money for those rooms? Oh yeah, but this might be a good time for you to look into a third-party Disney Vacation Club rental service that'll help you potentially save hundreds on that DVC resort stay. You know that we absolutely love and always recommend David's DVC rentals. If you use them, if you're not a DVC member, you can rent a DVC member's points and get a better deal on your dream resort stay. We got a whole video on our channel about how it works and how it saves you money. Disney World's got a plethora of exclusive places for sure, but for every place you can't go to, there are about 100 or so other places you can explore. And the best part about those non-exclusive places, you won't have the cops called on you for visiting them. Hooray for the legal system. Thanks for listening, everyone, and thanks for watching. As always, this is AJ for Disney Food Blog, and we'll see you real soon.